Sophos now including ransomware with their encryption. No, not really. The DoD embraces information sharing, and an apple a day keeps the AI in play. These stories and much more in today's episode of MSP Dispatch.
Build the Impossible at CompTIA ChannelCon 2023, running August 1st through the 3rd at the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. Join other technology innovators and peers to solve problems and create new opportunities in 3 days of learning, collaboration, and transforming your business and career. Speakers include Eric Anthony, Aaron Chernin, Vince Chrysler, Bob Coppage, and ChannelCon's 2023 keynote speaker, Mick Ebeling. Be inspired, build the impossible. This $1,200 value is yours at no cost when you register with promo code SBOIT23 or scan the QR code on your screen.
Good morning and welcome to the July 21st episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. I'm Ray Orsini, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Tony Francisco. How you doing, Tony?
Excellent. What an incredible, this is episode number 132, I think it is. It's 134. It's an amazing Friday. Just got back from an incredible vacation in Yellowstone with the family. I'm relaxed. I'm all zenned out. I'm here to be stressed by more security issues and MSP concerns so I can educate the community and be the lightning rod of stress. How are you doing?
Not as excited about stress as you are.
But am I just crying on the inside?
Yeah, sure. No, things are going well. I can't complain. It's not like our data centers have caught fire and, that stuff going on. Not a big deal. Actually, my heart's a little saddened today. Last night or Wednesday evening, we got notice that Kevin Mitnick, the hacker who once eluded authorities for a long time and then turned to the good side, is passed away at the age of 59. It was pancreatic cancer. He's been battling it for over a year. For those that don't know, in the 90s, he would steal credit cards and data files, and he was the most wanted computer hacker of all time. In 95, he was caught by the FBI, charged with illegal use of telephone access device and computer fraud. In 98, he pleaded guilty, and after serving prison time, he became a security consultant. Probably the most widely known security consultant, ex-hacker turned security consultant ever. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Kevin Mitnick. Having seen him speak before, definitely interesting. Did you ever get the chance to see him speak at an event?
I did, and here's a little known fact that you don't even know. So I, prior to jumping in with the Department of Justice and Network Security, we studied Kevin Mitnick. The specific interest, from my perspective, is that I worked for GTE, which is where Kevin Mitnick, the famous email that says, "I know Simple Mail," or is it Simple Mail? Was that what the I know Simple Mail?
I think it was, yeah.
Simple, and that was his reply when they tried to catch him, and he's like, I know this, like, I get you. Good luck trying to catch me. Catch me if you can. But we studied Kevin Mitnick for years while I was at Quantico, and it was such an amazing cat and mouse game where that is where I learned the dusting the trail, where you take root, then take root, then take root, then take root, and by the time somebody figures out one or two of those hops, your trail is completely dusted. There's almost nothing auditable because people didn't keep those auditable trails at that point or for very long. And what an amazing! And then he went on to go, and I believe he was one of the co-founders of, or at least the major sponsor driver for KnowBe4 here in the Florida area. But hearing him speak and watching him do what he did was absolutely amazing. And what a And granted, crime, not good. Bad. However, he set a precedent, and just for everyone's edification, he was suspended to not be able to touch a computer for, I believe it was like 10, 15 years, some ridiculous time. So I want you to process that. Our entire audience right now is like, we just caused 2 car accidents.
Wait, I can't play Flappy Bird? No.
You can't touch it.
You know what? Speaking of what you can't touch, we got some news we got to get into, including some news from Sophos, maybe?
Yes, we do. Let's get into the news. And in my first story from bleepingcomputer.com, cybersecurity firm Sophos has been impersonated by new SophosEncrypt ransomware. As you heard on the intro, no, Sophos is not having a ransomware problem, but someone is impersonating them. A new ransomware as a service operation named SophosEncrypt is impersonating the cybersecurity firm Sophos. Discovered by Malware Hunter team, the ransomware encryptor is written in Rust and uses a token verification system for encrypting files or entire devices. It can also modify the Windows desktop wallpaper to display impersonated Sophos brand. The operations seem to be active, with one victim submission found on ID Ransomware. Sophos has clarified that they did not create the encryptor and are investigating the issue. Furthermore, ransomware's command and control server is also associated with Cobalt Strike C2 servers used in previous attacks. Researchers are investigating any potential weaknesses in SophosEncrypt's encryption. So, Ray, we joked about it in the very beginning, and I'm sure there's people, we caught their attention, just like saying, hey, Ray Orsini is stealing everyone's identity. Not this Ray Orsini, but someone who says they're Ray Orsini. So what are your thoughts on this? Because we considered Sophos to be, frankly, a very valid player in the security industry, and having someone take their name and use it for bad, is that a big concern?
I mean, it's definitely a concern when you start searching. If I was at Sophos, the real Sophos, if I was there, I'd be concerned about people Googling Sophos and finding articles like that. There's always the reputation issue. As far as, installables and stuff like that, MSPs should be educating their clients. Don't download something. We'll install what you need, nor should they have the admin permissions to install anything or download anything that's an executable. So, this is something that shouldn't really harm MSP clients as long as the proper controls are in place, including education, not just technology. On the reputation side, anybody that looks into this, you're going to realize immediately what it is. It takes all of 2 seconds, as you proved. I gave the clickbait headline. You corrected it in 2 seconds. It takes a little bit of research, but there are going to be the people that just see Sophos encryption ransomware, and they're going to go on that. And I would invite everybody, especially as an MSP, teaching your clients not to jump to conclusions based off the headline.
Please. All right, we already talked about 2 car accidents just from the Sophos has ransomware included in it. No, it does not. But someone calling themselves Sophos has ransomware included. And there's clickbait. But at the end of the day, it's also a case in point. Educate, confirm. Here is an interesting turn of events, though. Could it be, from the opening story, Kevin Mitnick faking his death and then causing his new strain of... Yeah, that was a horrible joke, everyone. Horrible joke. And the clickbait that turned into something bad.
I'm trying to figure out how to get out of that without...
You can't. Listen, yeah. I'll just put myself on mute. So real quick, as I pass the baton back to you so you can bail me out of this hole, tell me about, what do you think from a impersonation perspective the MSP can do? I mean, because this is a huge plug for Auto Elevate, Threat Locker, right? What can the MSP do to educate their customers so things like this don't happen, because they will happen more in the future?
Maybe we can bring on somebody like from Finn. We can bring Connor back on, because this is very much in line with phishing, right? In phishing, you're identifying things that just don't seem right, or you're learning to qualify what is good versus bad, right? What is authentic versus scam. Well, with the news, it's not really any different. I would call this as part of your security awareness training, how to qualify the results you get. I mean, you go Google anything, the first 2 results are sponsored ads. They're not the results you're looking for. They're sponsored ads. Unless you're, my dear old mother back in the day, she would Google AOL to go to AOL to type in the search term she was looking for on AOL.com. God bless her, man. So, but that kind of education from the MSPs is absolutely warranted. Um, I'd say build it into your SAT training. I don't see a problem with that.
I think email is critical, and maybe just throwing this one out there, make sure you spell all of your emails correctly when you type them out as an education to your customers. Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it definitely seems the U.S. military could take a little bit of security and awareness training, at least with OPSEC. And that leads us to our second story, the security. A common typo causes millions of emails intended for members of the U.S. military to be sent to accounts in Mali. And this was suggested by Isaac Good on Discord in an article written by Sean Ligas of CNN. Over the past decade, millions of emails meant for the Pentagon employees were accidentally sent to email accounts in Mali due to typos, resulting from the similarity between the US military's .mil domain and Mali's .ml domain. This mishap, discovered by Dutch technologist Johan Joost Zerbier, revealed security risks as sensitive information, including hotel reservations for senior US military officials, were disclosed. Though the leaked emails did not originate from the official Department of Defense accounts, the department took precautionary measures by blocking its email accounts from sending to .ml addresses. And while the misdirected emails have decreased over the years, they still occur frequently. The Pentagon has since implemented controls to prevent .mil emails from reaching incorrect domains. However, there are limitations regarding the use of personal email for government business. This isn't the first time this year that the U.S. military has had to deal with an accidental email leak. In February, internal emails from the U.S. Special Operations Command were accidentally made public due to a technical error. Tony, every once in a while, there's an article that just leaves me a little flabbergasted. This is one of those. I mean, what is the takeaway from this nonsense? Please
let's
help me
let's
here.
let's unpack this. First things first. When I buy a domain and it's going to be relevant, I bought TonyFrancisco.com, I bought TonyFrancisco.net, I bought TonyFrancisco.islam, TonyFrancisco. Whatever, because and look for misspellings and a variety. But if you want a domain, buy the associated TLDs, which is a very unfortunate byproduct, but it will prevent these type of scenarios. Now, that being said, something else that will prevent these type of scenarios are education, and there's going to be some safety mechanisms. Now, every MSP that's in our audience, every single one of them, can never, ever, not once say, "I have seen the dumbest thing ever." No, I've seen the dumbest thing in recent years. But we all have those customers that have done something, and let's be blunt, we are also customers. We have all done something from the perspective of the lens of somebody who's wildly initiated or educated. We do not the smartest things. So those preventative mechanisms are huge. And this is a perfect case in point of, because we can all imagine the magnitude that this could have reached, what general education and preventative mechanisms can do for your customers. This is something that you take to your this is the takeaway. Take this article to your customers and say, this is why we are teaching this thing that seems to be simple, seems to be completely nebulous or vague, or frankly just ambient to everything you're doing and nothing important. But it's things like this that create the connective tissue, this mesh, this protective layer that we, the MSP, are trying to provide you, the customer. So maybe that's the takeaway, is using this as an example. And I literally just said in a very long-winded way, let's use the very unfortunate actions of the U.S. government and specifically the military that protects us as something that you should talk to your customers about to not do this. That's the takeaway.
I mean, there's always an opportunity for learning, absolutely, and I was actually just talking with an MSP friend today, before recording this, of what's the value of sending out these emails, getting on video, talking about current events if you're an MSP. And I would argue knowing about this stuff, educating your clients, showing them that you're the subject matter expert can have a ton of value. If you think for a second, they're not going to talk about your clients aren't talking to other peers in their community, in their circle, about their challenges and wins with IT, I have something to correct you. They absolutely are. They absolutely are, including when they talk about current events. How nice would it be to say, my MSP told me about this, and he told me or she told me why it's important or not important. So if you're not having those conversations with your clients, I really think you should. I mean, it seems like no brainer. You don't even have to come up with content because it's in your inbox, or just take our stories.
I was just going to say, the stories that we provide you are perfect. We were literally giving you 3 stories twice a week that you should take to your customers and say, listen, this is what's going on. This just happened today. This just happened yesterday. And we refresh it so often. We're giving you this unlimited amount of content. And frankly, the summary of it and the context of how it applies to maybe you, the MSP, or the customer themselves. Maybe this is exactly what the takeaway should be for every show.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we're educating the Illinois education system. We're absolutely educating you on how to educate your clients. It's this whole Inception thing. Speaking of Inception and Skynet and computers taking over, you have some news from Apple?
And in my next story from TechCrunch.com, Apple is testing a ChatGPT-like AI chatbot. Apple is developing some AI tools, including a chatbot referred to as Apple GPT, to compete with OpenAI and Google, as reported by Bloomberg. The tech giant has built a framework named Ajax for creating a large language model similar to those behind AI's ChatGPT and Google's Bard. The Ajax framework, which currently runs on Google Cloud and uses Google JAX, will form the basis of Apple GPT. The chatbot is being used internally for product prototyping, summarizing text, and answering questions based on trained data. While the company has not yet confirmed how it will roll out this technology to consumers, it plans to make a significant AI-related announcement in the coming year. Apple is also actively recruiting experts in generative AI as it looks to meet consumer demand for AI tools capable of tasks like drafting essays and images. Ray, let me just rip the Band-Aid off right now and tell you that A, I love Apple. I'm kind of that Apple fanboy. B, can't stand Siri. It's like I've got this plasma floating flying car that they still come with an 8-track player or a cassette player for the newbies out there, or for the youngins out there, or maybe even a CD player. Maybe a CD player. They're like, what's a cassette? CD player still comes with a CD player. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a good move for Apple, or are you just a fan of the cassette?
So I was actually talking with somebody for NSITSP about AI, and they are going to do a video series talking about how about AI. And my feedback was, do not just regurgitate what everybody else is doing. Do something new. So something new being the first thing I gave him was Azure at the moment is the only one that you have data sovereignty rules with for the data you submit to their AI, and you have absolute control of how the data is handled. OpenAI, there was the leak not too long ago with the thousands of accounts that were compromised, and if you gave it credentials to build a script for you or whatever you did, it's on the account. They have access. So, given Apple's strong history of great security and personal identification or personal information lockdown, I think this has a good option. This could be a good play. Apple they have a 30-year, 25-year history of, they don't innovate, they don't create the new thing, they iterate. They don't innovate. That sounds a little better.
I
Um,
like that.
and so they've done it other places where they just improved it. They improved the phone, they improved the app store, where one didn't exist. Maybe this is the next thing. They need to do something better than Apple VR or Apple glasses. So
Iterate. So going full circle back to the beginning of the story of the episode, I talked about the way I worked at GTE. Bell Atlantic, GTE, and 9X merged to become what is now Verizon. And back then, it was fascinating because we would all call it "Get There Eventually." It was just like, we'll get there eventually. Everyone else was cutting edge in technology. GTE, we'll get there eventually. But when it did happen, it just worked. It worked really, really well. And the cellular days, for those of you who remember, it's kind of a big deal. So if Apple moves forward with this, do you find it interesting that they chose to not use the AWS infrastructure and they went with Google's infrastructure? Isn't that fascinating? I mean, that was the one thing that piqued my interest out of the entire article.
And I'm muted.
Muted, you're muted, you are muted. I'm sorry. Okay.
We need a little muted song, like just for the bloopers, right? Like, and you have to do that singing right there. That has to be there. So my thing is this: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they have these strategic relationships. Even Apple versus Microsoft have strategic relationships. At the end of the day, they're going to do with whatever's better for them. I do find it interesting. AWS would have been the most obvious play to me. Apple versus Microsoft, I could see why they wouldn't want to put their AI in Azure, because Azure already has AI, as I mentioned previously. But AWS and GCS, Google, also have AIs. So it's not a competitive thing. I just think this probably was Google came to the table with the best deal possible. I guarantee you both were in the running. There was no way AWS was staying out of that conversation. But MSPs, tell us what you think. Let us know in the comments below or on our Discord. For now, let's get into some notables, Tony.
Let's do it. And jumping into my first notable mention from Infoworld.com, Meta lets loose second generation of Llama AI models. Meta has made Llama 2, its second generation large language model, LLM, available for research and commercial use free of charge. The LLM family, which includes pre-trained models and fine-tuned versions of text generation tasks, is accessible via Microsoft, AWS, and Hugging Face, among others. Microsoft customers can use the Azure AI model catalog to access LLMs, while AWS clients can utilize Amazon SageMaker Jumpstart. The models can also be downloaded from Hugging Face's portal. Despite being open source, Meta has outlined restrictions on Llama 2's usage in its acceptance policy. And on my next notable, from Engadget.com, Microsoft will charge businesses $30 per user for its 365 AI Copilot. Microsoft has announced its AI-powered Copilot for Microsoft 365 that it will charge $30 per user on the business account. The suite of tools developed in partnership with OpenAI utilizes natural language text prompts to generate Office content. Additionally, Microsoft is launching Bing Chat Enterprise, a privacy-focused AI chatbot designed for sensitive business data. While the $30 per month pricing applies to various Microsoft 365 customers, consumer pricing remains unannounced. Bing Chat Enterprise is available in preview for certain Microsoft 365 customers, and a standalone subscription is planned for the future.
And since Phil is out on vacation, we're going to replace our AI topic for the Friday episode with our resource of the week. CISA shares free tools to help secure data in the cloud. As per Sergio Gatlana on Bleeping Computer, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency has shared a fact sheet with free resources and guidance to help enhance data security in the cloud. For links to this, just check the show notes and we will take you right there.
There are plenty of amazing upcoming events taking place across the community, so let's see what's coming up. On July 26th at noon Eastern, we have the Build It Better Everything MSP discussion by Everything MSP. We also have an in-person event on the 26th, Next Generation MSP in Indianapolis, Indiana. And another in-person event from the 27th to the 28th, SMB TechFest Q3. And coming up from the MSP Media Network, we have MSP Community Live Episode 4 at 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, July 23rd. On July 25th, we have a PitchIT Vendor Spotlight featuring DataStream and Grokstream. And as always, on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, MSP Dispatch presented by the MSP Media Network.
Hey, I'm Powerhouse Ray,
And I'm Super Cousin Danny.
and we're the hosts of
The Tech Bar.
Pull up a stool with us every other Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for drinks, jokes, and games with your friends in the MSP channel. So how'd you like today's show? If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. And if you didn't, go and hit it 3 times. If you want to hear more, go and subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. Did you know we also have a Discord where we post stories all week? You can propose your own stories and even vote on which ones we'll cover. As my friend Rich Banky says, make sure to tell a friend. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. Have any questions? Email news@mspmedia.tv for answers on the next episode, or leave us a voicemail 833 MSP Network. Tony, I have to say we had a little bit of sadness in the beginning, but this was maybe our least scary episode so far. What is it, 100 and something episodes in where this is the least scary? I'll take that.
The least scary, my inner neurosis, is that the proper conjugation?
Yeah.
My inner neurosis. I just got back from vacation, so this is like jumping in. This is like nice lukewarm water. It's not cold at all. I just got out of like a sauna. This is freezing for me. Like, this is like everything. I've got Kevin Mitnick, someone that I idolized in the beginning and studied him and watched what he built. He passed away. You've got clearly Sophos is now causing ransomware. It's not real Sophos, by the way. It's somebody impersonating Sophos. You've got the military making a ton of mistakes, and the one thing they shouldn't be making a mistake at. So yeah, I guess it's not the most terrifying.
I mean, it's like if they sent an email and it went to anywhere other than news@mspmedianetwork.com. Like if they send it to news@mspmedia.co. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I love the information that we give. Frankly, the audience, the family members here in the MSP world, the resellers that are reselling, both from here's what I'm trying to add some value, here's the from soup to nuts, I'm going to do everything based on best practices because this is what I've learned, to frankly just taking something and sinking it into something else that they built. So they're reselling it, but they're actually building something for the betterment of their audience. The information that we provide our audience is always used in the right way. So as negative as I want to make it sound, everyone giggles at it. We all know what the value is here, and it's please, please, please learn from everyone else, and we share everything we can here. The MSP Dispatch is all about the MSP community. I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And with that, everybody, thank you for going on this journey with us. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Be safe, everyone.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.
You on mute. You are on mute. Too much mute. Too much mute.
Yeah.
Too much mute. I was drinking. That almost came out. You're like, and immediately, typo. And I'm like, you can't do it again. You can't do it again.
All right.
Okay, go. Wrap it up.